Hello and welcome to today's session on Career Portfolio, How to Stand Out in an Interview or Performance Review. This session is put on by AIHA's Career and Employment Services Committee, and I am Isabel Bacarella, and I have about 10 years of experience in industrial hygiene and environmental health and safety. I currently work for Enbridge, and I am the Occupational Hygiene Manager.
And hello, my name is Bill Nichols. I have around 28 years of experience in industrial hygiene and environmental health and safety. I work for Applied Materials in Austin, Texas, as a senior EHS manager in the corporate services group.
Hello, my name is Bill Pockels. I'm starting my 33rd year as an industrial hygienist with the Port Authority of New York and New Jersey. Okay, what is a career portfolio? Career portfolio is a collection of documents and other portable artifacts that people use to validate claims that they have in their resume. And I have to emphasize portable documents and artifacts. It's something you have to be able to bring to the interview with you. The career portfolio supports and makes tangible the things you want to convey about yourself in a cover letter or a resume, in a face-to-face job interview. Cover letters explain items on your resume, but the career portfolio fleshes it out much more. What is on your resume and on your cover letter. Next slide, please. Okay. Let me see. Why use a career portfolio? It garners attention. It provides links. It makes intangibles more tangible. It helps sell yourself. Of course, it consists of your best work and artifacts that best represent you. It is proof of your worth to your current employer, and past employers, and your future employers. It adds to your credibility. It sets you apart from other candidates that do not have one, and that will be most people will not have a career portfolio, so you'll be head and shoulders above others. It builds your confidence, and it illustrates your accomplishments. Next slide, please. Portfolios give audience to more information. Resumes only give employers a snapshot of skills. Cover letters, like I said before, explain any potential issues with employers will have with a resume, like employment gaps. But beyond that, it's limited. Career portfolios elaborate your resume and cover letter. Resumes and cover letters, bring extra copies of the career portfolio if possible. A good cover letter is short and to the point, and it describes why an applicant is applying for a position. A career portfolio can be used to fill in the gaps, like I said, and the portfolios help the audience remember topics discussed during an interview or meeting. Next slide. When to build a career portfolio. When you're seeking employment, when you're seeking admission to college or graduate school, preparing for a competitive job interview, when you're between opportunities, changing careers or fields, seeking a promotion, like all on this list, consultants looking for referrals after taking time off from the working world early on in your career, any time to be prepared throughout your career. Like with a resume and a cover letter, build your career portfolio as you go along in your career. Never wait till the last minute when you are invited to a job interview. Next slide. Basic steps for a successful career portfolio. Determine sections. Identify, how you want to organize your career portfolio. Identify documents to include within each section. Organize documents within each section. Plan your career portfolio beforehand as you progress in your career and when there are major life changes. Compile the portfolio into a professional folder. Practice using a portfolio like you would in in an interview. Tailor your career portfolio to the job description as much as possible. Maintain a file or database of documents, artifacts that you can put into a version of the career portfolio that you submit to a particular employer. Use for the interview, performance review, raise, interview and more. Maintain the portfolio. Continue to update it throughout your career. Next slide, please. Determine portfolio suggestions. Consider the company's key success factors, the things that they look for. Keep it simple and straightforward, though. Example, list of sections could be personal characteristics as the first section, experience, accomplishments, knowledge, skills. If possible, use the PAR principle. PAR stands for problem, action, result. When you have stuff in your career portfolio, they should identify a problem that you took action on, and you resolve that problem, and you present the result. That's the PAR principle, problem, action, result. Next slide, please. Identify documents. Career summary and goals should be in there. Resume, of course, samples of your work are particularly instructive. Awards and honors, transcripts and degrees are particularly helpful to a potential employer if they're not able to perform a background check. Some companies do that automatically. I already said that. Letters of reference. Letters of references are great for your career portfolio because you know exactly what they are saying about you, and you get to present it to the potential employer yourself. And then next slide. Use existing documents and build new ones.
Thank you, Bill Pockels. This is Isabel Bacarella again, and I will continue to speak about step 3, how to organize documents into sections. The first thing to remember is the section titles you choose should be identified mainly for yourself to find documents quickly. They also may be aligned with a company's mission or goals, or simply thought through on how you organize documents in your head during an interview. These ones listed here are common sections that can be copied or adapted for you to use when building your portfolio. These sections were identified from examples we've seen in practice. And for me, these are the exact sections I chose to use when I built my original career portfolio back in 2010, and I still use today. So next, I will go through each one of these 5 sections and share some examples of what you may choose to include with each one of these areas. For section 1, you could showcase your personal characteristics. To highlight some examples here, you could include a list or a photo of hobbies or extracurricular activities, a screenshot of a website maybe you developed for work or personal use. Perhaps you coach a softball team and could share a team photo or a word from that. Many times security clearances are required, and you could have that readily available if this question arises, and it really shows you're well prepared to provide proof as soon as you're asked. You may also want to share volunteer experience or notes that describe your personal characteristics by others. In an interview, I've referred to this section when asked, how do I describe myself, or how do I describe my leadership style? So here are some examples of documents you could use for personal characteristics. These are physical examples of documents to include in this section, which include volunteer appreciation letter, letter of recognition, list of references, and a letter of recommendation. Be sure to have these letters or emails as they arise in your career on an ongoing basis that describe your best qualities that translate into what a hiring manager would be looking for. The next section in your portfolio could be experience. This section provides visible proof that the experience you state in your resume or through answering questions in a performance review are in fact true. Think about projects you worked on at school or work that you were very proud of. Create screenshots or examples of work you developed, making sure you removed any confidential information. You may also show your experience with international business by showing work permits, or even create a map of all the locations you worked at or lived in your life. Executive summaries or screenshots of the main page of a document are a good place to start when compiling this section. Interviewers are typically not asking for every single detail of experience, but having the summary ready to share will help them visualize your experience with a clearer picture than just explaining it alone. So here are some examples of what could be included under experience. So this is a resource I developed when asked to identify a recommendation to the executive council at my company on how to identify the type of medical testing we do, whether it's mobile units, using local facilities, or having an on-site medical professional. This example shows how I organized the project that I led. This document was from the same exact project where I concluded the decision-making process on which option to consider based off of various factors. This example shows the research I did to guide facilities to what clinic type they should select. I used this example during an interview when showing how I led a corporate project. This example shows a technical ability where I had to recommend glove types based off of the type of solvent handled, task, exposure time, dexterity, etc. I think this is a great example to show if asked about technical or even organizational skills, or how I solved a problem that was identified during an audit. This next example shows more experience with my ability to identify PPE requirements based off the task at hand. Then, how I effectively communicated what PPE to wear to employees through a poster hung in their workplace. You may want to share successful or exceptional performance ratings like this one if you get asked what you're most proud of, or explaining a streak of high performance in your current or previous roles. If you're seeking a promotion within your current place of work, you could actually use this to show why you think you exceeded expectations when you were rated successful, and use the other documents within your portfolio to further explain why. Job descriptions of your current job or previous jobs you held could help explain to someone who's not familiar with your experience. Maybe you switched industries or are being interviewed by someone outside of your field, such as HR. This is a screenshot of an SOP that was developed to be in compliance with a requirement. You could show this when you are asked about your experience with developing procedures. You could develop a list, like this one, on programs you've updated or have experience developing. I really like this example to document, to build a document, and you might not already have this on hand. So this goes to show from what Bill was saying that you might not have these developed already and you have to create them. Lastly, I encourage you to share visuals of training you've provided by sharing a photo or a screenshot of the introduction, especially for unique topics or relevant topics to the job you are interested in. Section 3 could highlight your accomplishments. Here are some examples of what you can include, such as scholarship award letters, news articles of achievements, printed trophies that you've received, or you could print off letters from clients that thank you for exceeding their expectations. Here are some examples of what you could include in the accomplishments section. This announcement could be used to show you accepted a position and showcases how proud your manager was to have you on board with them. This is a letter that was sent from a satisfied client for outstanding work on the ventilation design of a sand casting unit project. Make sure to highlight what great qualities they say about you. Again, an exceptional performance review could also be in this section. And this just points out it does not matter where you put your documents as long as you can retrieve them quickly. Dean's List and similar awards could also be added under accomplishments. Next on to section 4, you could share evidence of knowledge you have, like copies of degrees, resumes, transcripts, courses or educational classes you took, or even publications. You could even share a career gap analysis to show where your strengths are and where you want to expand your knowledge or experience. A common but sometimes dreaded question when not prepared during an interview is, what are your strengths and weaknesses? So having this tool ready would help you prepare to answer that question and show visually you have already identified those areas. So here are some examples that could be included under knowledge. your proof of your CIH or CSP or other certifications. You may need to show you're qualified for aspects of the job and can share that evidence, such as an instructional designer certification. And for section 5, we have skills. This could be technical skills, and also think about soft skills and leadership skills. You can share how you manage time or manage teams in this section. So here are some examples of skills you could present. Six Sigma Green Belt, ergonomic assessment training, membership certificates of organizations you are a part of, and training on industrial ventilation could show you have the skills for the job in which you are applying. So now that you have an idea of 5 example sections and what documents to include, I will hand this over to Bill Nichols on putting it all together.
All right, thank you, Isabel. This is Bill Nichols again, and I want to talk about organizing yourself to be prepared during an interview. It's important to be organized. You don't want to fumble your way through your portfolio collection in front of your prospective employer. Doesn't make you look good, of course. Make sure that you compile it in an organized manner. It's important for you to know what sections are which. So you could use a 3-ring binder, a professional binder, of course, with divided sections. Be sure to be able to see the documents that you would like to pull out and show as representation of your particular skill. So have a transparent sleeve or holder to be able to quickly recognize the document for showing. And make certain that you keep your collection visibly professional. Remember, you're referencing during an interview, so you're being watched the entire time. It's important to be professional, make certain that you're organized, and make certain that you can locate things as quickly as feasible. Next slide. Practice makes perfect, as the saying goes. Ask yourself some challenging questions and develop your thoughts for responding. For example, what are you most proud of? Can you show an accomplishment, particularly around an area that you're looking to demonstrate your expertise in for your prospective employer? Another thoughtful question that may come out is, why are you the right person for this role? So having prepared yourself adequately for the interview is extremely important. Stand in front of a mirror, pose questions to yourself, see how you respond, collectively gain your composure, and then make sure that you're ready to go. The CS committee offers a mock interview process each year at the conference. We also offer career counseling at any point in time if you want to prepare for a job interview. But it's important that you are prepared and ready and organized before going into an interview. And it's most important to dress the part. We live in a pretty casual society, but when you're going into a job interview, you want to look professional. You want to make sure you dress the part. And a good white shirt and tie is never a bad look, gentlemen. Don't forget that. Next slide. So, how to use your portfolio? You want to kind of gauge the flow of the conversation, the topics at hand. So you want to ensure that you show your representation or your examples at the right time, the appropriate moments during the interview and discussion. You don't want to just drive back and forth. Make certain that you offer to show an example when that topic comes up, or if it comes up, or some point during that discussion. So make sure that you go with the flow of the meeting. And then be familiar where you can locate those items. I mentioned previously being organized, extremely important. You be able to locate your example from your portfolio as quickly as feasible. Maintain control of your portfolio. You don't want to hand it over as an example or exhibit number 1. You want to make sure that you have control of it, and that's why you want to be the one pulling out and returning the documents and items that you're showing for evidence during an interview. Virtual meetings. We live in a virtual world. The past year and a half has been an extreme example of how we're transitioning more and more from in-person meetings to virtual meetings with things like Teams and Zoom, WebEx, and other types of services. So you want to make certain that you're prepared for a virtual interview if that's the way that the company or the prospective employer wants to proceed. Most importantly is confirm the format of the meeting. You want to make certain that you're familiar with the platform that you're planning to use, be it Zoom, Teams, WebEx, etc. And make certain that you're able to navigate through the system to be able to share documents as needed during that process. It's also important that you ask up front before your interview starts if you're able to take control and show examples if they may arise. If you're wanting to pull out from your portfolio the various examples that we've been discussing today, make certain it's okay with the prospective employee first, and then also make certain that you're able to practice pulling up those files. It's important that you have your files ready for quick access from the folders or the documents open on your PC so that you're able to retrieve those quickly. Nothing more annoying than stumbling through or watching somebody stumble through trying to open a document and then trying to gauge. It just shows that you're not organized if you're trying to fumble and find and locate, etc. And it also increases your stress level and frustration during the process. And you want to make certain that you can maintain your composure and feel comfortable throughout the entire interview process. So that's why it's extremely important. You also do not want to email your documents over. These are supplementing your interview process. They're showing examples and helping you demonstrate your qualifications for the role. Unless it's specifically part of an application, you want to make sure that your career portfolio belongs to you. It's your personal collection, and that you're maintaining that. All right, and step 7, let's talk about maintaining your career portfolio. Consider it a live document, a living, breathing tool for you to be able to utilize throughout your career. If you're trying to interview for a new position, you're trying to advance in your current role with your company, advance your career with new organizations. So you want to make certain that you continually update as appropriate and keep it consistent. Make certain that you only put useful documents in and swap out those that become less useful. As you become more tenured, it's probably not important to show classroom-related items, but more, how can you demonstrate the success that you've seen throughout your years in working with the organization or in the field and practice. So it's extremely important that you go through typically on at least an annual basis, do an annual review and kind of update your portfolio just in case you need it at any given point in time. And then always keep a master file. We're not saying get rid of everything, but have a file that you can pull items from to show as a reference in a tool or an example if you need to at any point in time. And remember, as we often talk about resumes are living documents, and there are times when you're going to, let's say, your experience will outgrow your past, and you'll want to make sure that you update to reflect that. And bring in new items. So it's important that you keep this document moving and fresh and current so that if you're in a position where you're looking for a new opportunity, it's ready to go. It's also important to build your skill set. You know, interviewing for job opportunities is a skill set, believe it or not. It's not very easy, and most people don't interview for a new job opportunity every day. And for that reason, create stress. It's challenging to be able to sell yourself, but it's important that you be able to sell yourself in a job interview. And your portfolio could be a reflection of how you're organized, you pay attention to detail, and as well as a compilation of all of your achievements at some point in time, or specifically those achievements which are going to give you a leg up in an interview for the specific role that you're looking for. So being organized and prepared is a valued skill in business today, and you need to realize that. And so keeping your career portfolio up to date, having one available, being able to sell yourself in an interview, and more importantly, be able to use those pieces of information at the right point in time through an interview process may help you get a leg up on the competition. So the Career and Employment Services Committee is a group of professionals in the IH profession that volunteer our time to be able to help prospective employees looking for roles with a new employer. And with that, we provided a number of guidance documents, and the career portfolio is one of those. And so we want to make sure that you go to AIHA.org, look in the career services, career success. Oh, let me start over. There are a number of available resources for prospective employees that are looking for opportunities with new companies. And on AIHA's website, under the Career Employment Services Committee's page, you're able to find different documentation to be able to help you. Some tidbits here and there on interviewing skills, resume writing, the career portfolio workbook, etc. So make certain they become familiar with these resources, as well as there are a number of different published books and literature that are available to help you prepare for a job interview. So make certain that you familiarize yourself with that, help yourself become more comfortable with getting yourself ready for a prospective job interview. So many people don't know that the Career Employment Services Committee is available year-round. So just to let you know, we have our committee. Many people don't know that the Career Employment Services Committee is available year-round. Members of our committee are always available, or somebody on the committee at least, to be able to help you if you have questions along the way, whether it's reviewing your resume, providing some career counseling, answering general questions, etc. But you can reach any one of us by contacting Wanda Barbour at AIHA. She's our committee liaison with AIHA, and we work hand in hand with her. So if you reach out to Wanda at any time during the year and say, hey, I would like this kind of help, she'll contact somebody on the committee and get you the help that you need. And now let's bring the talented Isabel Bacarella back to discuss an optional activity that we call the Career Portfolio Worksheet.
Thanks, Bill. And I just wanted to add that I've used a career portfolio in all the interviews I've had for jobs since I started my profession in industrial hygiene. And there have been a handful of times where I was complimented on it and definitely told, this definitely sets you apart from others. So use the resources here. And I encourage you, as Bill already said, to reach out to us if you have any further questions. So with that, this is a new resource that the committee built. And we have presented this topic at the conference for many years now, and we want to ensure that there's a response to the resources that we're putting out and making sure people have initiated to build their own career portfolio. So we provided this worksheet to help get you started. So this worksheet will help you lay out your sections and documents to start to compile a portfolio. It can be used as a brainstorming activity for yourself to identify what documents you want to compile or develop when making your first portfolio. This attachment will be within the session and will also be on the CareerAdvantage page on the conference website. So once you've identified your sections you want to use, draw a line over to the documents you want to include in each one of those sections. You may not have them all developed yet, so circle or highlight the ones you already have on hand, and then you may want to underline the ones you still need to work on putting together. So for today's session, we can stay on a few more minutes to answer any questions you have about the presentation, or have you start the worksheet and see what questions come up from that. And if you have any further questions on portfolios after the conference, please email Wanda with AIHA, whose email is provided in the previous slide, and we can work with you after the conference. Thank you, everybody.